Hunter Biden making a surprise visit today to Capitol Hill, shocking lawmakers as he voluntarily showed up at an oversight committee meeting just as they started to work on a resolution to hold him in contempt of Congress. This after he defied their subpoena last month. NTD's Melina Wisecup joins us from Capitol Hill. So Melina, if you could sort of describe the scene for us, what was the environment like and why did Hunter Biden decide to show up?
Well, the energy was certainly very high in that room today, Steve. Members were talking over one another, asking them questions about whether they would allow Hunter Biden to come and testify at that moment. Right now, one Democrat even pushed for a vote at that moment. Hunter Biden himself only showed up for about the first 15 to 20 minutes of today's hearing. Then he left right when Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene was about to speak. And to your point about what is the reason why he showed up, well, he and his lawyer want to paint this picture that he's trying his best to comply with Republicans' demands by showing up to testify publicly, saying that a private testimony will only result in Republicans twisting his words before presenting them to the public. And that's really at the heart of the political discord that we saw today. Just to give you a sense for the feel in the room, watch this clip.
Why can't you show up for a congressional deposition? You're here for a political stunt. This is just a PR stunt to you. Mr. Chairman,
if the gentlelady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden.
I've said repeatedly that after the deposition, Mr. Biden can come in front of a public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to play the video, but that is not what you said on television multiple times. We have the quotes. We can put them up. You said the witness can choose.
Our first 5 offers were ignored to selectively leak and mischaracterize what witnesses.
Now, Republicans are arguing that it's standard procedure, especially in sensitive situations like this, for the witness to come and testify privately before a public testimony. And Republicans also argue that this is the procedure that all witnesses in the January 6th Select Committee followed during that time, including the children of former President Trump. Steve?
To the Congresswoman from South Carolina's point of it being a political stunt, it certainly seemed like there was some insider baseball there with the Congressman Moskowitz having some sound all ready to be queued up there. At any rate, Melina, if you could sort of tell us what's next now for the contempt resolution itself.
Well, Steve, it will move to a full floor House vote, and then they will refer it to the Department of Justice. But some Republicans, Steve, are telling me that they're concerned that it might stop there. Watch this.
Will Garland have 2 tiers of justice? Will he protect the Bidens? Will he not prosecute because of Hunter Biden's last name? In contempt of Congress, voted out by the full House, just like Bannon, just like Peter Navarro.
As for when that full floor House vote will take place, we're hearing that it could take place either later this week or sometime next week. Steve?
Busy day for you on the Capitol there today, Melina. Thank you so much. Impeaching Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. The House Homeland Security Committee is holding its first impeachment hearing today. Attorneys general from 3 states testifying as witnesses.
In the last 3 years of Secretary Mayorkas' reign, there has been an orchestrated lack of enforcement of our nation's immigration laws. Since 2021, more than 8 million illegal immigrants have entered the United States, and that is more than the population of my home state of Missouri.
Republicans are pushing to impeach Mayorkas over the border crisis. They claim he's refusing to enforce the country's immigration laws and is enacting policies that make Americans less safe. At the hearing today, they said he did not fulfill his duty as border crossings have reached record highs. Democrats are blasting the move as partisan politics. If successful, Mayorkas would be only the 2nd cabinet official to be impeached in American history. Officials who work closely with Mayorkas say that he does not plan to resign. And as House Republicans grapple with a $1.6 trillion spending deal, some are calling for a government shutdown until the border is secure. This as the Committee on Homeland Security moves toward impeaching Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. We sat down with Congressman Matt Rosendale of Montana to discuss this further. Congressman Matt Rosendale, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be here with you today.
Congressman, I want to get your thoughts. You recently visited the southern border with the Speaker. What were some of your biggest takeaways? You've been there before.
Yeah, this is my 4th trip down. I wanted to see how bad the conditions had devolved over the last year. And unfortunately, it met my expectations. With another record amount of illegal encounters, 302,000 last month there at the southern border, we have major problems. And I continue to say this is an imminent national security threat. The week before we arrived down at Eagle Pass, there was about 10,000 illegals that were being held there and processed. And I spoke with the Customs and Border Patrol officers. Within just that one group of 10,000, there were 200 folks there that were individuals of special interest, as they quantify them, meaning that they weren't sure exactly where they were from, they weren't sure what exactly their intentions were when they arrived here, and unfortunately, before they could perform additional vetting and processing of those individuals, they were whisked off and distributed around the country, the same as the other 10,000 people were. So my main focus continues to be what type of imminent national security threat are all these individuals posing that are entering into our country.
You're talking people from the Middle East, majority Muslim countries that harbor terrorism.
Oh, absolutely they do. So far, I've been told that there's somewhere between 160 and 168 nations that have been represented coming across our border. We have Chinese nationals that are coming across our border. We have people from the Middle Eastern countries that are coming across our border. And that's the ones that have had encounters. More concerning to me is the roughly 2 million people that are the gotaways that we continue to hear about, that are dressed completely in camouflage from head to toe, ghillie suits many times, what they call carpet shoes on their feet, and it's wall-to-wall carpeting that they wrap their feet with so that they can't be tracked. If it is so easy to cross the Rio Grande at Eagle Pass, Texas, and get a new pair of shoes, clean underwear, and basically a bus ticket or a flight ticket to go anywhere in the country that you want, why would you go through all of the work to sneak in under the cover of night? How bad of a criminal do you have to be? So let's just take some numbers. If it's 2 million gotaways that have snuck into our country, that haven't had any encounters with law enforcement whatsoever, and if it's 10% of those people that are bad, that would be 200,000 people that want to do us harm. If it's only 1%, that would be 20,000 individuals that want to do us harm. 20,000 people within our country that want to do us harm can cause, they can wreak havoc across the nation with our national security, with our energy supply, with our food supply, with our transportation systems.
So do you think coming back from this trip, there will be enough votes to shut the government down?
Only if the people that are living in the states put the pressure on their representatives. I do not believe if the people do not cry out, if the constituents, if the voters across this country do not cry out to secure our southern border, that the representatives here will take the action to do what is necessary.
Congressman Matt Rosendale, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on today. Appreciate it.
Former President Trump again taking a pass on a GOP primary debate and planning his own counter-programming. That's as Governor Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley are set to debate one-on-one for the first time this evening. Joining us now live is NTD's White House correspondent Iris Tao in Des Moines, Iowa. Good evening to you, Iris. So what are we expecting to see tonight in Iowa?
Good evening to you as well, Steve. So tonight, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley will face off one-on-one for the first time during a CNN debate right here in Des Moines, Iowa. And that's really as both of them are ramping up attacks not only on each other, but also on former President Trump, who is maintaining a wide lead in the polls here in Iowa, holding an over 20 to 30-point lead over both DeSantis and Haley. But as the two here compete for potentially the second place to Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, who has been campaigning a lot here in Iowa for the past whole week, and so is not qualified as he's polling still in the single digits in certain polls. Meanwhile, I just asked him right now at one of his campaign events here at the Iowa State Capitol here. I asked him whether he's concerned that he's going to lose some of that traction or exposure because he's not qualified. He's told me that CNN is actually ignoring some of the polls that would have made him qualified. He also went on to call that a fake debate. Watch.
CNN has decided they don't want the people of this country to hear what I actually have to say. So their shenanigans, their election interference, frankly, in this GOP caucus in Iowa has been transparent. It's naked, it's ugly.
Ramaswamy is planning his own counter-programming tonight here in Des Moines, and he says he is confident that enough people will tune into that as well. Steve.
So, Iris, what are we hearing about former President Trump, his plans for tonight? There's also rumblings that Chris Christie may be dropping out of the race altogether.
Right, former President Trump has been mocking both DeSantis and Haley for potentially competing for the second place to him. He is skipping the debate tonight, and instead he's participating at a Fox News town hall actually right across town. And we actually do expect to hear more about his legal challenges currently facing him, as he just today was barred from delivering his own closing arguments at the New York civil fraud trial. The closing arguments are set for Thursday in New York. The judge in that case says that Trump's team has refused to meet certain requirements and restrictions in order for Trump to deliver his closing arguments. But of course, Trump's team is calling that unfair. So we do expect to hear more on that tonight. And on your point, Chris Christie reportedly is soon to announce that he's going to drop out of the race in a little bit, actually at a 5 p.m. Eastern time town hall tonight. So let's see what happens in the coming minutes or an hour or so. Steve.
We'll be keeping an eye on that. Iris Tao reporting live from Iowa. Thank you so much, Iris. Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.